Hello, my sunshine, and welcome to a new episode of the Hot Girl Morning Podcast. I am so excited to have you here because today's episode is gonna be a really special one. This weekend, I had a lot of amazing conversations, amazing connections, and it made me realize this big topic, this big thing that a lot of us are struggling with. And I think this big thing keeps us from really enjoying our lives and from really enjoying the paths that we're on. And I feel like it is that constant worrying and questioning everything that you're doing and if you're on the right path and comparing yourself with other people and where they're at. And this is so exhausting and takes so much joy out of our lives. So I want to share with you a little bit about that and also on how you can get out of that worrying and fearing and questioning and go towards really living your life and learning to enjoy your life and basically to say goodbye to all these worries. If you don't know, my name is Greta. I'm an accountability and empowerment coach, and on this podcast, I talk about all things personal growth, mindfulness, self-love, manifesting your dreams, and becoming the best version of yourself. So if any of these topics sound interesting to you, make sure to follow this podcast, rate it 5 stars, and share it with a friend who might need this. I am honestly so excited to talk to you today because my weekend has been magical. These days since the weekend have been also magical, and it is all because I have hosted my first retreat this weekend with a couple of friends, and oh my freaking lord, this was so beautiful and so good for the heart. And basically the topic of the retreat was to reflect, to create. And basically the topic of this retreat was reflection, connection, and creativity. Because what I have realized is in our day-to-day life, it's sometimes so hard to really look within, to connect with ourselves, because there are just so many things happening all at once. But imagine getting together in a circle with women where you truly allow yourself to look within with, are you happy with where you're at right now in life? What are the things that are on your mind? Is there something that you have been really suppressing for a long time? Are there some emotions that you didn't allow yourself to feel? Is there something that you want to change for your future? And to really get together and be in this safe space and have the conversations and have the creative time and have everything in between was so beautiful. Obviously, I was the host of the retreat, but still I was also enjoying the retreat myself. And maybe you can hear it from my voice, the joy that I was feeling was just amazing. And I think I feel just so much in the flow right now and so energized, and I just had so many realizations, and I want to share these realizations with you because we also had a part in that whole retreat which was more about, okay, let's have good conversations and do something creative. So we were just drawing our pictures and at the same time having a really, really beautiful conversation all together. And basically what I realized through that conversation is that I think one of the biggest problems, as I would call that right now, is especially, let's say, in your 20s, but I think it's also in general, is that thing of questioning your path, asking yourself, okay, what is my purpose? What do I want to do? What do I want to do with my career, relationship? I feel like there's so many aspects of questioning yourself and feeling uncertain and feeling unsure and worrying, okay, is this the right thing? Is this the wrong thing? And then we're just comparing our lives to other people's lives, and we see them online and we're questioning everything that we have done in the past and everything that we're planning for the future and everything that is happening right now. And I don't think that is healthy for us. it kind of reminded me of a movie. The thing is, I actually have no idea anymore how it is called, but basically there is this man who learns that he's able to time travel, and what he realizes, I think his father, I don't know the exact storyline anymore. Like, if you know what movie I'm talking about, make sure to write it down below in the comments. It's a really beautiful movie. And basically, being able to time travel is only possible for all the men in his family. So his father was experiencing, I think, every day of his life twice. So he was always going back to the day in the beginning, to basically, one time he was just going through it with fear and worrying about it, and then he was just able to enjoy it the next time. And I think that is such a key learning, or a key realization that sometimes afterwards we're asking ourselves, okay, why did we worry so much? Why were we so afraid? Why were we questioning so much of what we did? And I think it is about learning to let go of all that worry and all that questioning, all that thing. Like, this is holding us back from really being in the present. This is holding us back from enjoying our path. This is holding us back from feeling confident that there's a reason that where you are right now and how you got there. And it is okay exactly where you are right now. Like, it is okay that you're there, okay? It is okay, and there's a reason for it. I think there is this beautiful quote. I don't know the exact words. Like, I'm so bad with exact quotation, but it goes something like this. You did the best you could with the knowledge you had. And sometimes we look back to life and maybe some decisions we made and some things we have done and we would do now differently, and we start regretting what we have done. But you have to remember, like, there's a reason why you have chosen this path, and there's a reason why you are right now where you are. But that doesn't mean that life has to continue being hard. That doesn't mean that life has to be this thing that you have to overcome, where there's only tiny parts that are joyous and the rest is just hard and challenging. Like, no. And I want this episode to be kind of your reminder to let go of these worries and to let go of the fears. Yes, I will still get into like particular ways how you can really train yourself to let go of that. But I want this to be kind of a sign for you. Like, this is the day where you're setting the intention to let go of that, where you're setting the intention of becoming more present, being more here and now, and to stop compare yourself. And I think there is one aspect as well to it that I think is currently in our society not really helpful with getting out of that worrying, comparing, anxious mind. And I think a big part of it is actually social media and the online world, because you see what other people are doing on this earth, which also brings so many beautiful things to the surface. But I think you can sometimes get lost in this online world and seeing some influencers or seeing people living a completely different life than you, and you are kind of, in a way, maybe even a bit jealous, or you're just, okay, why do I have my life so hard and I don't like this? And then yeah, it's just a lot of comparing yourself. And what I want to remind you also is, people are sharing their highlight reel. Like, I try to be honest and share vulnerable moments, but I think there are also some moments that do not include only me as a person and my thoughts that I do not want to share, which is completely okay. But even though I am not consciously only sharing the highlight reel, I think it kind of happens in the online world that you tend to share more of the things that are good in your life and the highlights and the good things, and you don't share the other stuff that is also going on. And that is completely normal, and we need to get out of that. And one more thought that I want to share with all of that, because I recently, was it 2 weeks ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I deleted TikTok. Like, honestly, that's a big thing for me because I have loved TikTok. I still love TikTok because I have learned, honestly, so much through this app. And I love how raw and honest people are on there. But it is a really addicting app, and it can really be hard to get out of that. And I realized for myself that my brain was always craving one dopamine hit after the other, always trying to be like, I don't know, it was kind of like a stressed mind because I was so used to that scrolling one video after the other without really being able to focus anymore. So I decided to delete TikTok, and I obviously still have Instagram because I need it for work. But I realized that Instagram is actually the app that I don't like as much, because Instagram, like, for me as a consumer, at least maybe it is only my algorithm, but the reels, like, people are constantly telling you about everything that you're supposed to do and everything that you're not supposed to do. And I don't know, like, I know that I'm also giving advice, and I know that I'm also telling people maybe in a way what to do and maybe what to avoid doing. But I am still a human that is experiencing life, that is also struggling, that also has challenges. And I feel like when I'm scrolling through Instagram, it feels like there are all these people who know everything about everything, and I just don't like it. So I actually prefer TikTok so much more because it is just raw and honest. And I try to be raw and honest. Well, I think on my podcast, I'm even more raw and honest because it feels like this is my safe space. Okay, I kind of got on a rant right there. But what we really need to let go of is all that comparison. And I think in general in life, there are different phases. Like, for example, I feel like when you're a teenager, one of the key things that you're craving is to fit in and to be cool and to be part of the group and the collective. I feel like that is really the thing for being in your teenager years. At least it was for me when I was a teenager. And then I think turning like 18, 19, 20, 21, around that time and even a little bit longer, this is more the time for self-discovery and finding out who you are, what you like, what you dislike, starting to really find yourself in a way a little bit more, asking yourself of what is the purpose, like where do you want to go. And obviously you can have these questions already before and after, but I feel like this is a phase where self-discovery is very much like in the focus. And I feel like then, like in your mid-20s or 20s in general, I think this is the time where you're trying to figure out your path and you're trying to find a lot of answers to a lot of questions. It is really every aspect, from relationship to friendships to career to family, to so many parts of yourself where there are just so many questions to be answered. And I think when you have so many questions, this lays the perfect foundation for a lot of worry and comparison and fear and anxiety and all these things. And maybe it is only the bubble that I have witnessed, but I feel like in your 30s, this is more the time where you're more secure with yourself, where you're confident, where you're like more fearless going for what you want to do, and you start to care less about what other people think. Because I think that is also a really big part of that whole being in your 20s. So much about, okay, how do other people see me? And I think it is that part also of your life where you're trying to gain confidence and kind of let go of that, but this is still something that you might be struggling with. So what is even the reason for worrying so much? I think there's a big part also the societal pressure, so the pressure that the world puts on you with where you're supposed to be and where you want to be and all of that, as well as this constant feeling of being behind. And like you're almost there, but you're not there yet. And you have to tick off that whole list of, okay, let's first, I don't know, go to university, do something like that. Then you need to get your first job. Then you need to be in a stable relationship. Then you need to think about, like, it is, especially as women, I feel like we have this inner clock of, okay, if I want to have my first kid before I'm 30, then I want to be married before, then I need my partner before, already for a couple. It is just so stressful. And we need to learn to let go of this pressure inside and of this constant feeling of being behind, because that feeling of being behind holds us back from really enjoying it. So what really helps you to get out of that worrying, anxious, questioning mind, to really enjoy the life you're on and stop questioning every decision and everything that you're doing? I think first of all, you have to allow yourself that this is a learning experience, that this is a journey. Do not expect yourself from one day to the next to be a completely different person and to stop worrying and for never anything to come up. Because I think there's one thing that is not helpful and one thing that is helpful. So I think the part that is really not getting you anywhere is, number one, questioning or regretting things from the past. So decisions that you have already taken, that you already made, that you cannot change anymore. To constantly worry and question these things that already happened in the past do nothing good for our future. It just makes our present moment not that enjoyable. So I think that is the thing that is really important to let go of. The other thing that we also need to let go of is when the same worries come up over and over, but if it is a worry also that really doesn't make any sense and you're not doing anything about it. So let's go to the different path of the different kind of worries and questions that can help you go somewhere different. If there's really something that you're worrying about or that you're questioning, you are allowed to change your path. If, for example, you are realizing that the path that you have chosen is not the right path for you, this is amazing. This is like your body and your mind telling you to go a little bit a different direction, and that is okay. But it is important sometimes to take the hint, because I feel like the longer you are not listening to your body and your mind, to what they're telling you, the more your body and mind will rebel and just not do your thing and make you not feel your best. And I think it is also similar to the thing like with feeling overwhelmed or anxiety coming up or burnout coming up. It is like over a long amount of time, you have done things that were not helpful to you and you were not listening to some parts of you that got you to the point of really there's no other way than to get out of that. So what we're going to do now is reframe these beliefs that we have about ourselves, about where we are in life and where we want to go and all of that. The first thing to it all is you need to create awareness that there is a problem, or that there are these constant worries and comparison and all of that coming up. If the comparison and all of that is very much connected to your use of social media or being online, what I want to highly encourage you is, number one, unfollow people. If you don't feel comfortable unfollowing someone, you can click on do not show me, their like muting their profile basically, and they don't know anything about that. But sometimes like you want to follow your friend, but there is something triggering about their experience or whatever, then you are allowed to mute these accounts. What you should do as well is when you are scrolling, the beautiful thing that TikTok and Instagram allows you to do is you can click on not interested. If there is a content piece, even though it would technically be helpful to you or be interesting to you, but it doesn't make you feel good, I want you to click on that button of not interested, so it doesn't show you either more content of this creator, more content with these tags, or in general content like this or this video in general. Because we need to let go of what is no longer serving us. We need to let go of that. And this is an easy way to basically limit the triggers that you have, the triggers that make you question everything that you're doing and make you question where you are right now in life. So this is the social media aspect of it all. But let's get back to, okay, you're realizing there's this worry coming up and we need to learn to reframe it. So one thing I think I probably have shared with you this little advice, this little tip before, but I think it's actually so powerful. First, we want to really focus on creating more of awareness of the problem. So a really easy way to do that is basically you can use a hair tie, a ring, a bracelet, whatever it is. And you're going to set a challenge for yourself. First, you have the awareness, okay, this is my problem. I am, for example, I'm always questioning my career and my next step in my career. Or I am always questioning if I would ever find the right partner. Or I am always worrying about whatever it is. First, know what the issue is that you basically have, or the thing that you're struggling with, okay? And then you're going to set yourself a challenge. And the challenge is going to be really easy and simple, but you're going to do that for 2 whole days. For 84 hours, I want you to do this to really create that deep awareness of this worry happening. And as I said, you need a bracelet, or you need a ring, a hair tie, whatever it is, a watch. I honestly don't care. Whenever you realize that this fear or this worry or this comparison, whatever it is coming up, then you take your bracelet, your ring, your hair tie, your watch, whatever it is, from one hand to the other. So every time when you realize that these thoughts are coming up that are no longer serving you, you're taking a hair tie from one arm to the next. Why are you doing that? Because that makes it even more present and conscious of that this problem is there. It also makes you realize how often these worries and fears are coming up for you. So it really makes it present. And if you ever start doing this for 2 whole days, I can guarantee you that also after the 2 days, you're going to notice this even more when these thoughts are coming up. So these initial 2 days of this challenge are just for you to really become aware of this. And maybe after a year or 2, this doesn't help you anymore because 2 years ago you did this for 2 days. Like, obviously, you may have to do it again if you feel like, okay, these things are happening again. But what you're doing when you're taking this bracelet from one hand to the other is not only putting it to the other side and continuing with that worrying thought or question or whatever it is, but what you will do also is take a deep breath, and you are consciously reframing that thought and that belief in your mind. And you can honestly gentle parent yourself a little bit and be like, okay, hey, I noticed that this thought just came up. I want to consciously let go of this. How can I reframe this in a way that is more supportive towards me? And what you can also do there is come up with a specific affirmation or statement of the new belief that you want to create for yourself. And then really put it on the other side. Take your deep breath, get within, and consciously let go of that belief and be like, I'm exactly where I need to be right now. There's a reason for every step that I have taken in my past, and what I have control over is my future. So this is something that is already really helpful. The other thing that I also want to mention about that whole worrying and questioning is the fact that probably there are statistics about it, no idea about the details of it, but I have heard something about that 80 to 90% of your worries will never become reality, or are just really, really far-fetched and are not really happening. And I think that is also a big part of it all, is we're worrying about things that will never happen, and they are taking our energy, and it is just not bringing us anything. So if there's really this specific worry coming up, what you can do is really take pen and paper and you write down what is the worry, what is the thing that is coming up for you over and over again. And I want you to really, because the thing is, these worries are very subconscious and they often don't make sense, but I want to kind of help you to see them more in a logical way, and to kind of help you through this logical lens to see why they don't really make a lot of sense. So you have your worry, you take pen and paper, you write down your worry, and what I want you to do then is really, really logically analyze that worry of how likely this is to happen, what are different ways this could happen. So for example, something we tend to do a lot is like we catastrophize things and be like, okay, but what if I start my business and I have a client and they absolutely hate me and they absolutely hate everything that we have done together, and then there's going to be this one person who kills my reputation and everything is going to be done, and I don't know, maybe this is a fear of people, basically that's something in the future that they really catastrophize. So what I want you to realize is basically a fear like this doesn't really make sense, because let's say you have already so much awareness and you would never let it get to the point of someone working with you and they hating it so much, because there are feedback loops happening before there's a feeling that you get from working with someone. Okay, this is probably maybe just a fear that some of my clients may have who want to build their businesses. But I think they're often like these big fears of something that is very far away. But I want you to recognize that you are you. And probably, maybe if you're listening to this, you also tend to be self-aware and reflective. You would not let a situation get to this point. So you have your pen and paper and you really start to analyze this worry. Does it really make sense? Like, how likely is this to happen? And what you can do then is, I would say 70, 80%, 90% of your worries will just be, okay, they really don't make sense. But for the worries that do make sense, I want you to ask yourself, okay, how can I better handle this? Because worrying about this 24/7 will actually hold me back instead of get me further. So really ask yourself, how can I better handle this worry? How can I reframe this belief? How can I make it easier for myself to live with this worry? Because worries are also sometimes there for a reason, and they just try to keep you safe. But what they do most likely is hold you back. So get the facts straight, and hopefully these facts will help you to kind of let go of them. And if not, ask yourself how you can better handle this, because we do not want to let these questions, these worries, to take away the joy of living on this earth and the joy of being alive. Okay, I think I have talked already for some time, but I hope really that this helped you and this gave you the invitation to let go of all that stress and worry that you put on yourself, and you can let go of this just this heavy weight on your shoulder, because you are on the right path and you will figure it out. The important thing is that you take it step by step. You go towards the direction that brings you joy, that makes you feel good, and then everything will fall into place. And if you need any help with getting towards these dreams and breaking it down and really, I don't know, taking step by step, or even to let go of the worries, I would love to support you. As always, you can either leave a comment below, or you can send me a DM over on Instagram at greta.webhofer, at greta.webhofer. and we can have a conversation there. I also offer a 30-minute free call, and I do coaching, and I have recently a couple of coaching spots that are opening up. So if you need help to go towards your dream and to really fulfill your fullest potential, I know that sometimes getting some outside perspective can be so helpful, and without this outside perspective and all the mentors and the coaches that I have worked with, I would never be where I am today. So if that sounds good to you and feels aligned, make sure to connect with me also over there. And I will have all the links down below. But thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye.